Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome once again to the Energy Hub TV channel. Remember, this is your one stop when it comes to all the recommendations, trends, news, and the business opportunities you need to fast track your progress in the energy world. Today, we're going to be looking at something very interesting, which is the fuel subsidy, the refining sector, and the Nigerian economy. Just recently, the IMF and the World Bank have actually put Nigeria on heavy fire for its fuel subsidy decisions, believing that most of these funds could have been moved to other industries that are suffering in the country. But the most important thing is that we do not actually know the whole idea around the fuel subsidy economics in Nigeria. It's been heavily miscommunicated, and in this episode, we are going to be looking clearly why the fuel subsidy is this way. I'm going to be looking at the history of the fuel subsidy in Nigeria, and I have with me here Dr. Felix Amerafari. You're welcome, sir.
Yep, good afternoon, and thank you.
So today, ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, this time around we're going to be accurately communicating the reason behind the fuel subsidy, why it is the way it is, Nigerians attempt severally, to remove the fuel subsidy, and what the administrations have been regarding the fuel subsidy. So, sir, quickly, we want to look at the fuel subsidy. We believe, maybe not Nigerians fully understand the economics around it. We believe that Nigerians are always protesting. Sometimes the fuel subsidy removal issue becomes a playground for raising other governance issues. People are protesting, labor unions, students' unions. So we want to quickly understand. Can you tell us the benefits of the government on subsidizing the price of goods and services in our economy? What are the benefits?
Okay, thank you so much. Subsidy is a macroeconomics tool. Economics. It's not only for developing economy, it's also the developed economy also provides subsidies. Anyone who has a little bit of understanding of economics and macroeconomics, subsidy is not strange, it's not new. It's part of a macroeconomic tool, to balance.
Okay.
So it's the reason, especially for the developed economy, the reason they do subsidies for agro, a lot of their, farmers, agricultural products and all that. Purely subsidy is to increase, number one, on the side of the supplier side, because there is a supplier side and then there is the consumer side. The supplier side effect is purely to increase production, for government to take some of the costs, and then let the supplier, let the producer, increase. And the developed economies mostly, they do that. And that is why they are major exporters of agro products.
Okay.
They take in a little bit of the cost and make the supplier, the farmers, and everybody in that sector to increase production and then massively export. The US does that significantly. Europe does that as well. So subsidy is not really a crime so far as it's targeted at the macroeconomic environment. But for every good thing, it will be mismanaged. Now, of course, economics, when they subsidize, actually, let's face it, when the developed economic subsidize, the developing economic suffer from it, because that makes our agro products become, heavily, striving to break in because they get cheaper. That's why you see Africa, that's supposed to be a food basket, is importing. Now with the Ukraine, of course, you've read about it. The Ukraine-Russian war, it's like food prices are increasing because we're importing food. Why would you import food? You understand? So these are all the benefits and, of course, the cons for subsidy. But the issue of Nigeria, as in most of our challenges, is not that subsidy itself is evil. But there is no statistics. There is no, because of course you've read challenges of what is the volume we are subsidizing. How much are we consuming in the country in the first place? And how much are we importing? The numbers have run like, wildfire, from 35 million to 60 million to 100 and something million liters. And how much are we really consuming in this country? Number one. So if you deal with that, the issue of subsidy will become manageable. But as in most cases, we don't even know the consumption capacity. It's all in the news, in the papers, everywhere, that Nigeria actually imports and exports. You understand? We subsidize, supposedly, and then those who have access export it out at double the price. So that is the challenges. Subsidy has its own economic. For the consumer side, of course, the government, use it. First, it has political, that government like to show, because they subsidize for consumers to meet some, to balance some economic distress. That, look, listen, we think we should be able to, it's a giving back to the people. But unfortunately, the case for Nigeria is this: you're subsidizing, saying you're subsidizing for Nigerians, but the volume you're subsidizing is questionable. The people that are getting the subsidy is also questionable. Because the question is, how many people benefit from this huge subsidy? And how does it reflect in the economy of the people? Now, if we are spending, like now they've approved 4 trillion naira, a budget of 17 trillion, 4 trillion is for subsidy. How does it impact? And every day, poverty is increasing. How does it? Misery index, is increasing. How does it? So this is the challenge. If not, subsidy is not, well used, intention is not evil. It grows the economy. It has this impact, it has these pluses. But typically, in our environment, it becomes hazy, unclear. And the distribution of wealth, which is supposed to be, is even to the wealthy people than to the poor people. You understand? But the poor people don't really see the impact of this 4 trillion. Who is getting the 4 trillion naira in this country? Do you know what 4 trillion naira is to Nigeria? What can it do? So those are the things that the IMF and everybody say, Nigeria, we don't think you are really applying the spirit of subsidy. You have over-politicized it. You have corrupted it. You've mismanaged it. We are not seeing the impact of the subsidy on your economic trajectory. So why are you still wasting good money for bad reason? Stop. Take it out. But then, this year, the government wanted to take it out with all promises of, it doesn't really also add up in so many things. You understand? So that is just the issue. The issue is subsidy itself is a tool for economic stabilization, economic growth, production, incentive, consumer, to balance the macroeconomic environment. That can even go down to individuals. But unfortunately, it also has its own issues. It can be mismanaged. And in the case of Nigeria, it is heavily mismanaged. Don't get it wrong. I was reading a report that globally, fossil fuel subsidy runs about almost $500 billion. Country, the US subsidize but there are reasons. I can tell you, there is crude theft and all that, and all kinds of things, but our major challenge is, how did you move from 35 million liters to 60 million liters to 100 and 500? You understand? In what economy? Look, you see, energy intensity, there are empirical studies to show per capita energy consumption. So what bothers me from an economic perspective is, if we are following this trajectory, is the economy also following that trajectory? If your per capita consumption is increasing, where is it in your economic, parameters? Those are the challenges primarily now for the Nigerian subsidy scheme.
Okay. Sir, you just mentioned a whole lot about the distribution and even the impact. I want us to move closely to the fuel subsidy itself now. The history is almost nearing over 50 years, and we've had various regimes and administration trying to either partially remove, or even, for example, the Jonathan's administration claimed to have actually done some kind of removal and pumped the proceeds to education. But do you really think, let's look at the fuel subsidy in Nigeria? I want us to look at it. Do you think there have been impacts, positive impacts?
Look, that is the point I'm saying. I mean, we have staggering numbers, in the past 15 to almost how many years, that we spent close to $35 billion. Now, the thing is this. No, I think the question to ask is, who are you subsidizing for?
Okay.
I think that is the issue. Can you see any improvement because of the subsidy? Because subsidy have increased significantly this way. So, if that is the case, can I see it? In the Nigerian context, you can't see it. Listen, let me tell you. If we are consuming 60 million liters, that the economy is consuming 60 million liters, and you are subsidizing 60 million liters because it is incentivizing the economy, you will see it. But subsidy now in the country has been so, it's like entitlement. Let me call it entitlement. It's become a political tool. You understand? Entitlement. It's become a political tool. I mean, you take it. In the past 15 or their years, you spent 30 something billion dollars. So the question is, where did that money go to? Has the government really sat down? Because the economics of subsidy is quite, honestly, it is not a place to, we're not dealing with economics. We're just discussing, the economics of subsidy is quite, there are a lot of studies, empirical studies, people are taking time to look at subsidy, GDP subsidy, economic growth subsidy. You understand? So, Nigeria, all that we write is, we want to increase subsidy to 2 million. The question is, how has it correlated with our economic trajectory? Generally, our economy is going this way, subsidy is going this way. So that is the issue. The issue is not that subsidy is evil. The issue is that the subsidy we have is not an intentional economic subsidy. It is a discretionary subsidy. Because subsidy started, some of us were kids when the issue of Udoji started. The oil boom. When the government, you can see the cycle. Mm-hmm. When that government said, we have enough money, we don't know what to do with money, so they subsidized, they try to pay for everybody. You understand? Increase salaries, do everything,
tickets,
everything. But we talk about Libya. You understand? Listen, subsidy is a very good tool if it is plotted with a progressive economic trajectory. Libya runs, a very simple socialist structure where everything is until Gaddafi, even now, they still try to sustain themselves, even though there's a lot of sanctions and all that. You understand? Because they got their oil, took their oil, and said, listen, we need to take out poverty. Even up till now, if you check the HDI, the Human Development Index, Libya is way higher than Nigeria. Nigeria is just about 0.53, 0.54. So those are the things that some of us who also look at economic things to say, how does this government incentive helping? Now, we're subsidizing with 4 trillion. How about our education?
Yeah.
ASU is on strike. How about our power? National grid collapsed. Do you understand? How about our medical system? Everybody go for medical tourism. So that is why it's not intentional. I've always challenged myself and a few people that, listen, why don't we start putting the Nigerian economic environment into the economic equation? You understand?
Yeah.
We cannot run economy by sentiments. We cannot run economy by political promises. Economic is a tool. You understand? Economic is a tool. It's an input-output relationship. So the question I always have is that we have a lot of professors, we have a lot of people, and when you talk about subsidy, it becomes like an entitlement. But the people that are asking for, oh, you cannot increase fuel, you cannot do this. Now, I just tell you, recently, for whatever reasons, diesel went to 800. Did people die? No. So it brings efficiency. The abuse of subsidy is this: when you do subsidy without looking at economic benefits, it causes even the direct opposite of what subsidy. That's why I say subsidy is an economic tool, and so it's an economic subject. And those who have economic background will tell you that you need to plug it in and see that if I give out this, what am I getting? When you abuse subsidy, you rather disincentivize the economy, because people just wait and get paid. You understand? They just wait. It creates a laissez-faire economy. It just wait and just get paid. Government will subsidize. No, they are not subsidizing for you to wait to get money. They are subsidizing for you to get up, to do something with that subsidy. The subsidy is not supposed to be given to you to buy, movie ticket. It's not for you to buy the next bottle of beer. It's to increase productivity. So, I have an economic background, so I can talk. One time I did a study on, on inflation targeting in Nigeria. A robust, postgraduate studies on inflation. And the professor he said, Felix, what did you find out? And I said, listen, sir, I looked at inflation systems, even in neighborhood Ghana, a few other people, and I tried to do a model for Nigeria, and I couldn't fit inflation. And I came up with all kinds of reasons, political ideology reasons, sentimental reasons, north-south equilibrium. No, I have to invoke a lot of things because there is no reason for our inflation. Yep. It's just that it just happened. You understand? So what I'm saying is for us to really move forward, we need to say, first of all, honestly, ask me, we need to say how much of this subsidy is being subsidized. Mm-hmm. Number one, how much of it is being given to the rich people? Because if you are importing 100 and something million liters a day, how much is being exported out to neighboring Cotonou, neighboring Ghana, neighboring Sierra Leone? Are they not part of the subsidy? They're all part of the subsidy. You understand? So you subsidize in this country at $10, they sell it at $30. Who is approving the movement of those vessels? Mm-hmm. Because in the first place, they are not lifting this product from Nigerian refineries. But Nigerian refineries are not working. So all these products they are selling within the West African coast are imported products that went through the subsidy scheme. That's what the World Bank, they know this. Everybody know this.
So it's just...
It's for the rich. Everybody know this. Look, if you want to subsidize the total economy. Right now, universities are struggling with you that you can't even pay, you understand, their salaries. Where is our subsidies is quite robust. You subsidize R&D, you subsidize everything. If you really want to look at the total concept of how much of the research in this country are we subsidizing? How much, you understand, there are so many things. Subsidy is not just petrol product subsidy. The government is saying, listen, we can see that, okay, let us incentivize you to do more. That's what subsidy is all about. Let us see that those who don't have more to do, we bridge the gap. So it's a gap filling measure to make sure you encourage people, you pump people, you make people to move. Look, take for instance now, where there is energy transition. The government should think of how do we subsidize research and development. There is AI. How do we subsidize to see that Nigeria can also match its own technology? You see a lot of startups in Nigeria looking for money outside, right? And most of the money they are getting, we are reading it, are from outside. How much of government subsidy have gone into incentivizing startups? You know, if you check, patents, how many patents are Nigerian, issuing? You understand? Those are the things that others do to boost the economy. So when we make subsidy look like it's devilish, no, it's not. It's the way you use it. So the issue is this: the fuel subsidy, it's overstayed its usefulness.
Okay.
Because number one is that we are not subsidizing for the right reason. We are subsidizing for the wrong reason. Okay. Number two, we don't even know how much we are subsidizing. We don't even know the consumption capacity of this economy, how much this economy is subsidized for. So those are some of the challenges that are inherent in our present topics of subsidy.
Okay. I was even going to ask about the scrapping of the subsidy regime. You've already answered that, and then we already know clearly, without any miscommunication, that it's just basically incentivizing the economy, and there are many departments and industries that these subsidies can even be used for that the Nigerian public don't know about. However, I still want you to just briefly let the public understand that the subsidy thing can actually be more than what, because most times these things just escalate to become protests. It's like the Nigerian public do not really understand. I think for them, when this thing is removed, they think just increments.
Yeah, it's because we are running, more like, a benefactor beneficiary model of economics, okay, where the benefactors are the rich who are getting the subsidy. Mm-hmm. And so when government want to scrap the subsidy, they go and get the poor people to say, government want to kill you. I'm going to increase for no. So this is where the Nigerian academics need to come. Researchers need to come out to tell you, stop, you are lying. It's not true. Subsidy increase, we have found that, in fact, recently a group just did a research on it. Subsidy increase, we find out that it's not impacting so much of what you are doing. The increase is just going into somebody's pocket. It's not going into the national economy. So people need to know. So subsidy has become like a political tool. You understand? Because gradually, the people who are benefiting from the subsidy are now mobilizing the people who are not benefiting to fight for the people who are benefiting. So Nigerians think that the more the fuel prices is low, the more they are. But your livelihood have never changed. So there are a lot more things than what subsidy is talking about. You understand? So the fuel subsidy is just one aspect. Let people sit and say, listen, okay, government, you want to remove subsidy? Let's sit down. Like one of the things that the federal government said was that they're going to remove subsidy and then pay 5 million per month to 30, 40 million people. And I asked myself, why would you want to do that? So if you pay somebody 5,000 naira every month for 30 million people or 40 million people, which you consider the poor, transport allowance every month. Do you know how much that? Now, have we ever done anything right to know the target people and what is the economic impact of giving them 5,000 naira, and who are you giving the 5,000 naira, and what is the benefit of giving them? Is there any alternative of taking that 5,000 times 30 million a month to an economic, economic boosting activity than giving it to people? You understand? What are they needing? What do the people want? If I take 5,000 times 30 million every month, what can that do? How long will I pay this 5,000 times 30 million? What is the aggregate value of this? Mm-hmm. And in the economy, what can this money do to boost the economy? That is the challenges some of us have. It's not just I want to give 10,000 naira to people. Do you know what it means? A poor country that our debt is almost 33, 40 trillion and it's increasing by the day. We are spending almost 90 plus for debt service. Our revenue, is declining and everything. And you now want to aggregate that much money that you can put into productive sector of the economy. Productive sector of the economy. If you want to subsidize, why don't you subsidize education? Why don't you understand? Mm-hmm. Why don't you subsidize security? How much is police earning? Police quarters are what? You understand? How is the police living? Why is the police collecting bribe on the roads? So what I'm saying is this, that it's an emotional, sentimental statement that they do. Sit down and look at the global economy of Nigeria and say, listen, if we remove this, where are the areas that are so below par? Mm-hmm. In every area, Nigerian economy is measuring lower than even our West African, peers. So why don't you subsidize the police so that there will be more security? Mm-hmm. And if the security is low, security risk is low, it will bring in more investment, either portfolio or direct investment into the country. And if everybody is finding job to do, would you think he will worry about fuel subsidy when he become an economic citizen in the country? Why don't you subsidize health? Why don't you ensure that medical tourism that we are spending billions is preserved by focusing on you understand what I'm saying? So the people who are protesting, just like in everything that we mobilize people to protest. And they are not telling the people exactly the problem. Why would you use 4 trillion naira to subsidize? Who is benefiting from that 4 trillion?
I'm very glad you were able to distill the whole idea behind the subsidy, and that the fact that I hope that even the viewers understand clearly that these subsidies can even actually go into things that can actually enable our environment and even make us, fast track progress if it's R&D, education, and all those places. Quickly, there's another question that I know everybody wants an answer to. It's the fact that we are oil rich. We've heard it. We've always heard it. It's a staple already. But why are we still importing our petroleum products? What will it take Nigeria to be self-sufficient?
No, it is clear. Listen, for me, Dangote refinery 650,000 barrels refinery capacity is coming. But that's Dangote. That's not Nigeria. So Dangote is a private, he borrowed money. He has to pay his money. But one thing that would help is that if you have refineries in Nigeria that are working efficiently, the refineries will have their counters and their meters. They know what each of them will be selling into the market. So there will be more accountability, even though the government will say, okay, let us subsidize the refineries. it will not be the same thing as this subsidy from imported product that we don't even know what. If we have, let's see, we have 450,000 barrel Nigerian, 445,000 barrel Nigerian refinery. We are others that come, Dangote plus that, assuming the 4 refineries are working, plus Dangote, that will be about 1 million barrel, right? 1 million barrel per day. You understand? Now, the petroleum products and all that, you find out that even if they are going to subsidize, they are accounted for. It will not be this under the table subsidy. Do you know the subsidy scam was such that no, people were not importing. It was all over the news. They were not importing. They just present papers. And so, but that cannot happen with a refinery in the country producing. Because the refinery will buy the crude oil, it's accounted for. The refinery has a product that when they are selling, is accounted for. Nobody will go to subsidy office to say, please, I bought from refinery B in Delta State. Subsidy. Even it's going to be crazy. But people get subsidy just by submitting papers. That was one of the problems. So for me, see, Nigeria can do a lot more. How much is a refinery? You understand? How much is a refinery? Why can't we build brand new refinery? We're spending billions of dollars trying to reinvent these refineries, and I hope by the time these 4 refineries to come back and start running, they'll run well. But why don't you just say, you know what, Nigeria, let us just do another 150,000 barrel, another 200,000, but let's subsidize private sector to build another refinery. And give us how many years? Forget about Dangote time. Let's say between 3 to 5 years, a 200,000 barrel refinery should be functional and operational. You understand? So you now calculate. But this subsidy has been going on for years. So we have answers. We have answers. We need to promote, okay, we have a lot of modular refinery licenses that have been issued. You understand? Why are they not on? Because there is no money. How much is the modular refinery? Something of 5,000 topping plant that will produce diesel, probably about between 20, 25, some, below $30 billion. A 10,000 barrel refinery with PMS capacity, probably, you understand? So if you have somebody bringing 100,000 barrel, modular refineries mostly 5, 10, 15, those small refineries, but have capacity to produce PMS. If you stagger them across and give them 10, some of them take some 12, 24, 36, the bigger ones, and the country says, you know what, let us stop. Let us give ourselves 5 years. In 5 years' time, we are going to be a refinery up. Because even now, energy transition, we are not sure who are going to buy our crude oil. So why don't we become refined product exporters? You understand? Now, when we are exporting, there will be export subsidy. But it will not be as mad as import subsidy, which is what we are doing, because we are not sure of the volume that we are importing. So those are the things. So I believe that the government look, the way I'm thinking, I guess, a lot of people think more than me. So what I'm saying is this, there are solutions to it. Number one, can we account for what we are importing? 2, if we're going to remove subsidy, yes, where will the subsidy gain go? I don't really support that you should dash it to people. These people are unemployed. These people are poor. They need jobs.
Not handouts.
They need jobs. So empower them. Make them economic citizens. Don't make them perpetually wait for 5,000 naira every month from you to do what? They will use to buy tramadol. But they're jobless. They used to buy high drugs. Think, how do we employ these people? This is where you subsidize the private sector. You incentivize. That's what government business is actually, honestly, government business is actually to subsidize the economy for productivity. Government business is to enhance and facilitate business. Their business is not to run the business. Their business is to ensure that business runs. They create the enabling environment for business to run. So people say government have no business in business. And the answer is actually true. Government business is to make sure the business of the private sector runs. You understand? So for me, those are things that we need to worry about. It's a global, it's an holistic total economy. Unfortunately, we are so sentimental, emotional in Nigeria. So we think fuel subsidy, no, it's not a crime. Unfortunately, it's a crime in Nigeria because we are subsidizing the wrong people.
Thank you very much, sir. I was about to ask you your final recommendations, but you've actually given us a full load. Ladies and gentlemen, remember you can be part of this conversation because we are looking at fuel subsidy, the refining sector, and the Nigerian economy. You can always join us in the comment section, share your views. We want you to tell us what are your views on the way forward that we can resolve the subsidy regime in Nigeria. Should it be scrapped? What are your thoughts, basically? Let's just know in the comment section. So, do you have any final words?
Yes. The government, the present government it's a transition government. I think one legacy they can leave for Nigeria is to bring an economic position on subsidy. Not only on fuel, on the total sector. There are a lot of sectors government need to subsidize that will triple our economic growth. They need to start looking at the various economic boosts. There are sectors that honestly, it will surprise you what other Africans that don't have resources are doing. And we have resources and we have also those things that they are doing. So there are a lot of sectors that money needs to go in. So I won't subscribe that we just dash out that money if we remove the subsidy. But more importantly, let us make the subsidy not sentimental, emotional, but an economic environment so that people come to really know who we are subsidizing, why we are subsidizing, and if we are taking out the subsidy, what it will do. Because there are many things it can do. It can fund our education. It can fund transport system. It can fund medical system. It can fund research. It can fund tourism. How many tourist centers do we have? Where it can fund, technology. Startup. We have a lot of startups. It can fund startup. It can fund a lot. Let us look at the total basket of the economy. So that when we are removing from one sector, we are sure other sectors will benefit from it.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the final curtain drops here. Don't forget to like, share. You can join the conversation and follow us again on social media platforms, and of course, energyofng.com, where you can follow up trends, products, listings, opportunities, and even Kickstarter projects in the energy sector easily, seamlessly on energyofng.com. This is Energy of TV. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your community, and continue the conversation. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.